аккуратно,
Ей!
ровно в 30. Красиво,
Да,
красиво.
да, но я всегда стараюсь так делать. Так, у меня ничего не
Мгм.
зависло. Окей, хорошо. И мы в эфире.
В эфире, в эфире.
В эфире. Oh
Вроде бы в
yeah.
прошлый раз мы очень хорошо закончили, мы прям закончили кейс, да?
Угу.
Мы закончили, получается, 3-й кейс.
Угу.
Сегодня у нас начинается 4-й.
Привет,
Прежде
Вадимочка!
всего,
Привет, Вадимочка!
hello,
Ты уже не занят?
hello. Не спугивай человека.
Я не пугаю,
Короче.
я очень рада.
В прошлый раз мы закончили 3-й кейс, где мы зачищали богатого челика, как его звали? Магилдед.
МакГилдед,
Магилдеда мы
да.
защищали.
Вы
Прокурором
закончили
у нас
3-й кейс?
был...
Yes. Yes.
Да, прокурором у нас был Ван Зикс. Мы его защитили благополучно, хотя он был на самом деле какой-то, ну, с какими-то приколами, для нас подделывал доказательства
Угу.
жестко. Точнее, скорее всего, там были какие-то подставы, которые мы не поймали или не смогли поймать чисто из-за того, какая коррупционная тут у нас система судебная.
Да, Вадимочка, ты представляешь, ты представляешь? В общем, мы же проходим 3-й кейс, да? И вот как бы вот мы думаем, что все как всегда будет типа как обычно. Ну, бывает в Ace Attorney, где типа нужно доказать невиновность, и, короче, в итоге находится убийца в том же кейсе, а тут нет. Тут типа просто судья такой, типа, ну, доказательств недостаточно, мы не можем обвинить мистера МакГилдета в этом. И, короче, да, и в общем, было ощущение, как будто бы вот ты идешь к оргазму и не достигаешь его, понимаешь? Неудовлетворенность какая-то появляется. Я была очень неудовлетворена на прошлом стриме, но это был не хорни стрим, так что это неудивительно. Я-то понимаю. Well.
Ты меня рассмешила, у меня аж чипсинка застряла сейчас. Ты
О, нет.
рассказывай, я сейчас вернусь.
О чем
Нормально,
рассказывать?
нормально.
Сейчас опять будем учиться читать по-английски, да? И говорить по-русски. Что еще? В конце, после того, как мы закончили 3-й кейс, мы увидели новую персонажку. Мы увидели новую девочку, которую зовут Айрис. Но мы пока этого не знаем, но нам Саша сказала, что ее зовут Айрис. И она типа изобретательница всяких клевых штук. И у нее буквально такие же очки, как у Шолмса, как у Херлока. Как у Херлока Шолмса. Что это как бы подозрительно, подозряшки. Суси, сас, kinda сас. Вот. Мне надо взяться уже, наконец. Взять себя в руки и выложить оставшиеся записи. Потому что так ты сможешь посмотреть их на фоне. Вот. И вспомнить вообще, а что там было. А в общем, да.
Ну, несмотря на то, какой у нас был Магилдед прохвост, скорее всего, ему это с рук не... Ужас. Ему это с рук не сошло полностью, и в конце, после суда, он был заперт в каретке, как это называется, в басе, в минибасе, и сгорел в нем заживо.
Ой, я вообще про это забыла.
Неизвестно.
Подожди, а он там был? Привет, Сонечка, привет.
Да. Ну, его типа позвали осмотреть омнибас после суда. И потом нам показали, что омнибас горит, и
капец, то есть он сдох? Пиздямба. Да. Я забыла про это вообще.
Да, потому что нам во время кейса говорили, что Ван Зикс, он, известен, но не совсем потому, что он хороший прокурор, а потому что он проклятый прокурор, и все, против кого он ведет кейсы, после кейсов умирают какими-то путями.
Йоу, про это я тоже забыла. Круто. ADHD момент. Ва, как ты забыла подавление травматик воспоминаний, видимо. Да. Прошло уже больше 2 недель, так что, наверное, это неудивительно.
Да. А еще у нас в этой игре еще одна интересная механика суда была включена. Summation Examination.
Да.
У нас же теперь есть, как они называются?
Присяжные.
Присяжные, да.
6
Присяжные за jury. И они как бы решают виновный. И если они все решили, что человек виновен, мы можем их, по сути, остановить и сказать: так, ребятки, давайте мы проверим, следили ли вы вообще за судом.
Да-да-да, поминутно разберем все вами написанное.
Да, и потом оказывается, что половину там одним ухом слушали, половину фактов они неправильно поняли. Ну, мы на это
Мгм.
указываем.
И кто-то из свидетелей не до конца был честен, да, ну как бы как всегда.
Да-да.
Anyway, продолжаем?
Ну что ж, да, думаю, можно начать 4-й кейс.
О, мы сейчас будем опять читать по-английски, да? Там сейчас будет катсцена,
А,
или она была в прошлый раз, я забыла.
Я не помню, начинали мы или не начинали. Мне кажется, мы не начинали.
Окей, let's
Интро.
go. Let's go.
Кто будет читать? Я не помню, кто читал интро.
По-моему, я не помню. Ну давай ты, чтобы мы не путались.
Давай ты. Давай.
А, хорошо.
Ну давай я. Давай
Ну давай
я,
ты,
ладно.
давай ты.
Давай я. Ну что ж, решили. I begin to think, Wilson, said Holmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there's more to this case than that which we had observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to the story that we are yet to discover. Надо учиться говорить по-английски. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
Ooh.
And the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road and with a knife in her back.
Oh no, young lady.
Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Пемц.
Небольшая разминочка, давно не говорили по-английски вообще.
Епи. Так, 19 February, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. О, сейчас мы опять встретим Льва Алекса. Епи.
И я
Да.
Ой. не могу произносить это слово.
Да, да. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Burya, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. Им дали king size, yay!
Они
Блин, это
потратили
я.
все деньги.
I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Он прям как я! Он я!
Restless.
Restless, yes. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except... when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive, and the entrance so inviting. I just wandered in without thinking. Дурачок.
Мгм.
In a
Кумрия.
lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I really am sorry.
Вот они, настоящие туристы.
Мгм. Я, кстати, когда, была на этом отдыхе на шашлыках, у нас там был шведский стол, я попробовала скумбрию. Отвратительная рыба, мне не понравилось.
Там была скумбрия.
Да.
Прикол.
Ну, там на шведском столе были маленькие кусочки скумбрии, которые можно было взять. И я такая, ну они достаточно маленькие, я могу попробовать. Но, в общем, это полная дресня, я не заценила.
Хм. Ну, она донная такая. Не знаю, что там невкусного может быть.
Да, мне правда. Скумбрия слендер. Ну, может быть, она полезная? Знак вопроса. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodgings straight away, though. Может быть, они припрутся в квартиру Шоуса? Кстати, где Хасанага? Где мой любимый туберкулезник? Что случилось?
Наверное, документы все еще оформляет.
Как
Им
он
уже
будет?
пиздец нужно много чего оформить после того, что мы натворили.
Да-да-да. Ну, типа, Интересно, как он будет disguise himself в этот раз? If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less.
Может, он был убитой женщиной.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Хасанага. Fruity King.
Ну, он такой.
Ну, такой. Ну, тут многие такие, you know.
Адвокаты.
Адвокаты. London is a scary place.
Good morning to you at this early hour.
Привет!
Hello. Я не помню, какой у тебя голос. Просто низкий.
Oh, yes, он такой я. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. The citizen is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart.
Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation to British courtroom practices.
Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already had a price of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed.
Oh,
No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such remote eastern island.
thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now.
Now, in view of your new appointment, I had a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be any problem.
Another case? Already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
Чтобы мы узнали, кто был убийцей. Все, я теперь снова занят. Хорошего стрима. Спасибо, Вадимочка. Удачи тебе.
Удачи, удачи, удачи.
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proper judgment.
Это чудик. Oh, well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Ла-ха-ха. Я не могу с него.
F.
В нем, типа, знаешь, типа, метр 30 ростом. И шляпа еще 20 сантиметров.
Блин, реально, он же комплексует. Дэм. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruhodo! It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Единорожек. Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
Единорожек?
Ну, у него, типа, это, волосы так вперед торчат, как будто он единорог.
О, блин, он такой жеребец. No. What? Mr. McGilded is dead?
Голуби такие, пиздец.
Вообще.
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk.
Просто, знаешь, это у этой, как ее, у Жизель Брэд тоже, типа, птичья тема. И тут птички сзади
Мгм.
прилетают. Это так забавно.
Мгм. Па-пам.
Окей, давайте
Покажи ему значок.
поболтаем.
Можешь ему значок показать? Подожди, покажи ему значок.
Хорошо. Давайте покажем.
Армен. Ну, армбэнд, это твой значок.
Lord Strongheart, may I show you this?
To accept this item, issue a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings. Would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time.
Sorry?
Does the item warrant 24 seconds of my time, Mr. Naruhodo?
Let's leave it for now. Ладно, давайте с ним поболтаем. Так, значит, да, Magildet's death. I don't understand. What happened? How could he be dead?
After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime, which Mr. Magildet had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
No. How could such a thing have happened?
It is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified the corpse found inside the church shell of the carriage as that of Magildet.
That's awful.
The man must have slept inside, whilst the bailiff's intention was elsewhere.
That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened?
It is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. Magildet did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Может, он не сдох? Может быть, это, ну, типа, прикол? Рофл?
Прикол.
Кек?
Такой пранк, типа.
Да-да-да, пранк. Ну, вы знаете.
Пранк.
Эти
Well.
капиталисты.
Вообще, такие шутники. Ну.
Мгм.
Oh, I must be making my tracks now. It's time for the inspection.
Sorry? What inspection?
They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge, I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
Подозрительно, подозряшки, kinda sus.
No.
But then who was Mr. Magildet talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer of any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Poor Mr. Magildet. Okay, British court.
So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was wow. Мне понравился фейерверк в конце.
Фейерверк.
Фейерверк. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped into the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old.
Judicial.
Judicial, sorry.
Там типа
Excuse me. Да, judicial звучит лучше, чем judical. Да. Wow, Susata-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
Реально единорог.
Единорог.
The most advanced in the world, is it?
It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
Симп? Тебя, с моей стороны, тебя обрезало на симп. Я слышал просто симп.
Блин, интересно, на стриме так же было или нет?
Я не знаю, узнаем. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. He. Is something funny?
No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared a new case for you that I mentioned before.
Меня не обрезало, лол. Жаль, это fancy sound glitch. Simp?
Это для меня. Да. Это то, как я тебя воспринимаю, то я и слышу. У кого что болит.
What's going on? What was he going to say before? Okay, new case.
Ну что нам припрятали?
Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes.
Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite as urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
That is to say, no one has died. As yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
So the trial's tomorrow then.
Чем дохуя времени?
Is everything alright? Oh yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial.
Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there's currently no one to advocate for the defense.
Потому что опять будет этот наш любимый Вандикс.
Monzix.
Oh!
If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not to remind... Fancy. I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Не все такие пиздатые, которые могут сами себя защищать, конечно. Только Наругода такой.
Да-да. Хороший мальчик.
Yes. Да, хороший мальчик, хорошка. Yes, that's right.
Here we go again. Виновский такой, типа, shit, here we go again.
Shit, here we go again. Your time's up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now about 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you.
Oh, what's that?
Yesterday, you remarked upon something that you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi.
Да, давай, говори.
I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds.
Oh, well, cause Isin always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked, so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself, and there's another thing. Oh,
Another thing. Continue.
on the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me.
Точно. Да. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be?
He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain.
You're out of time. Well, thank you for the enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all that about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attention on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details.
How long has he been there?
So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell.
Okay. There's something very important that they have to do. Isin-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. Это же вы возьмешь.
Ну да, наверное.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Что это у него?
Подойди, спроси.
Страшно. Это
Картошечка.
fish and chips? Could we trouble you?
What do you think?
Lovely weather, isn't it?
What's the weather got to do with anything?
Ah,
Мне нужен какой-то более такой старческий голос. Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some flippery about the weather doesn't get every English chant eaten out of your hand, you know.
but the son told me it was foolproof.
I'm a busy man, a very busy man.
О, да, я вижу. Ты очень поглощен поглощением картошечки.
Ну, кто нет? Кто нет?
Кто нет?
Я бы жевала чипсики на фоне, но они меня уже сегодня предали один раз. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to.
Киню.
Я
Да-да.
ненавижу британский английский. Сука. Говори нормально, как человек.
Как человек, а не как британец.
Да.
Боже, надеюсь, Twitch не забанит меня за разжигание ненависти.
Белым
Well,
людям.
yes, конечно, к самым ущемленным и к самым непривилегированным на свете.
Белым англичанам.
Yes. Oh, I'm ever so sorry.
Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the big wigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jump from a country I've never ever heard of. Hear that rippling sound? That's my reputation in the yard going to taters.
Капец. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe I've been introduced. This is Mr. Inosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Ah.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, so it's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? Такой, женщина!
Он такой, пиздец, ладно, все нормально себя ведем. It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine.
Unbelievable. How did she pull that off?
Investigation просто, знаешь, что это, как это называется? Наоборот. Как ты кого-то устрашаешь.
Запугивание?
Intimidation. Intimidation check.
Intimidation.
Intimidation. Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Мне очень нравится имя Тобайас.
Tobias. Грегсон
Cute.
другой персонаж тоже из Шерлока Холмса, из книг, но я не помню, так ли его звали там, или это тоже измененное имя.
Не знаю, я не
Не
читала.
помню.
Мне нравится, что у него типа шея сливается с линией челюсти. Это очень забавно.
Ну, бывает. Ну, такой палец, знаешь.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector Gregson. Inspector, are you perhaps? The Inspector Gregson. You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato. But he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rand magazine? That's right! Inspector Gregson and Mr. Holmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry! Really?
Really? Боже, извините.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Holmes? That's incredible!
Well, I don't know about that.
Если он на книге основан, то он похож на Лестрейда. Сильный чел. Блин, надо почитать, надо почитать.
Нет, тоже никогда не читала. Mr. Sharps isn't a professor, no like myself, of course. But he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Да, когда он не сидит на веществах.
Ты так говоришь, как будто есть момент, когда он не сидит на них.
True. Sad but true. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise. Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see?
That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name is known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
I have to admit that to start with, I was a little flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation with the yard went through the roof.
Well, that's wonderful.
No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumors? Are you quite sure?
Может, у тебя просто паранойя, чел. He has changed since he started appearing in these stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that.
gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Gosh.
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 Gosh, girly.
Gosh, girly. Like I said, they whisper, so I can catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folks are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. I'm sure it's X.
Потрясающе. Яйца — это яйца. Настолько уже уверен, что яйца — это яйца. Прекрасно.
Прекрасное выражение.
I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh dear. Perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. The case. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before.
Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned with the art, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear. That probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right.
A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road.
Rar! Rar! Львица-тигрица, по жизни победительница.
The pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with such a takedown, would you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Rinosuke. You've angered her now.
Не доводите тинейджерских девочек, они вас убьют. Anyway, after something...
Комментарии, Сонечки, блин, ха-ха, вы такие милые, лузинет. И спасибо.
Anyway, after something of a horrible investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in the question?
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time with this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baron Van Dix.
Ну, один раз мы уже его разъебали. Ну, более-менее.
Ну, челик все равно сдох после трайла.
Да, обидно. Но это не наша вина. Он бы все равно сдох, неважно, был бы обвинительный приговор или нет.
Ну, зачем тут мы?
Свою работу мы сделали. Мы доказали. Вот, типа, он ушел в мир иной, честным, невинным человеком. Невиновным, простите. Все, теперь я тоже делаю эту ошибку. За что нахуй?
Я возразила.
С другой стороны, учитывая, как выглядел МакГилдед, я бы не удивлена, если бы он ушел невинным.
You know? Он себя вел это...
Ну, я про то, что ему бы никто не дал, понимаешь? Типа, невинный. Невинность.
Да.
Ну, типа, кто бы... Хотя, ну, как бы у него есть деньги, но я думаю, что даже за деньги никто бы не лег с ним в постель.
А та старушка, которая его обожает?
Ты думаешь, что она способна, типа, на какие-то такие штуки? Она же, ну, типа, у нее там артрит, радикулит, ринит, синусит.
Боже, не недооценивай старческое поколение. Они тоже фрики.
Окей. All right. No.
Sounds like I haven't heard of Lexi. Боже. Sounds like you've heard of him. Боже.
Yep. Oh yes, we're very familiar with Lord Van Dix. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey.
The Reaper of the Bailey.
Lord Baroque Van Dix, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGildy told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
Это
Это
могилда, типа, должен
я
читать, да?
читаю, да?
Это вроде могилда читает.
А в истории
Ну,
можно
может,
это
ты
посмотреть?
прочитать. Ну, типа,
Ну ладно, давай я прочитаю.
мне кажется, это Сузата пересказывает то, что говорил Могилда.
Наверное. But when Dick stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector. In yesterday's trial against Lord Van Dix, Mr. Narhudo secured a verdict of not guilty.
Грегсон такой, ну, uno momento. And what of it?
Oh, well, I think... That means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to the bloke at the end? He's dead. He's dead. Magnus McGildet came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you?
What are you saying?
Look, if Van Zix could get the dirt to stick on anyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that? Hum.
Nom nom nom. Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips.
У нее чипсики заканчиваются.
Понимаю. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Prior Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place.
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else.
Это либо кто-то новый, либо это Шомс, либо это Хасанага.
He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. Тиканье. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Inquiries? Inquiries. Uh-huh. Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I'm your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes! Let's go! Yippee!
Yes. Pum pum pum.
Так, давайте сначала в тюрьму.
Они опять перевели только часть локации, это очень смешно.
Да. О-ля-ля.
Кто же будет озвучивать тебя?
19th February, local prison, cell 9. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Dungeon.
Magic.
Delicious in dungeon.
Отвратный перевод названия, на самом деле.
Да. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo! You're making it seem worse! Так нравится этот спрайт, где она, типа, ну, с такими милыми глазками. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like.
Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Кто будет озвучивать его? Хочешь его?
Ну, поозвучивай пока ты.
No. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Calling me by a number? It's totally unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer.
Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? The tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Опана. Who are you? Ты не Хасанага?
Он не Хасана.
Ладно, бери его, а то у меня и так риноски и...
Да.
Да.
Quiet.
Что делать лисичек? Ну, почти.
They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it.
Right, so could I ask you who exactly...
There you are. You've come to chorus me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost.
A ghost?
Я вайблю с ним.
Капец. Чуваку плохо. They mean you no harm, prisoner son. Are you... Japanese, by any chance? Милые глазки.
Котяк. This is beyond my wildest dreams. Этот чел очень активный.
Okay.
Forgive me for the outburst before. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all.
Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole, it was a most monumentally moving moment.
Вау.
Блять. Я просто думаю, что там не мои соседи.
Damn. Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart had assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese?
What compassion my fellow countrymen show. Dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nippon.
Он типа составляет каждый раз типа какой-то новой буквы. А, прошлое была М, теперь Н, может быть следующее будет О? A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example?
Yes, I can, I will. Shan, stay silent and silent.
Нет, S. Видимо, не по порядку. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but seems happy. Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Runosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikatoba. Тебя, видимо, съела? Да.
I am a visiting student sent here by our government.
Student, да? А ты не слишком, ну, старова для студента?
Не, ну учиться можно, видите? Notably notoriously named Natsume. Сосеки Натсуме. Помните, когда я говорила, что в этой игре есть персонаж, который просто тупо буквально реальный человек?
Ха. Это он?
Реальный писатель японский, это он.
Прикол. Сосеки Натсуме.
Это реальный японский писатель известный.
И он тоже был в
я
Великобритании?
это рассказывала, но авторы игры типа спросили его, ну, потомков, можно ли мы ставим вашего прадеда в эту игру? И они такие, да, конечно. Мы обожаем, когда вы вставляют всякую хуйню. Единственное только, что вы должны обязательно включить, это то, насколько он ненавидел свое путешествие в Англию.
О, окей. У которого семья просила передать, как он не заценил Англию. Дэм, да? Блин. Вы так хорошо все помните. И я такая, типа, а, что? Где? Ладно. Сосеки Натсуме-сан? What an unusual name.
Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer haiku. Хайку. Кстати, вот эта вот поза, она буквально снята один в один с портрета этого писателя.
Прикол.
Вы можете загуглить, он буквально в такой же позе сидит. It's something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias? An alias?
Alias.
Я не знаю, что это.
Ну, типа... Боже, как на русском это? Когда автор себе другое имя дает.
А, псевдоним?
Псевдоним.
Окей. That's right, Naruhodo-san.
No, don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
And haiku? That really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government?
Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this. It's beyond the pale.
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
Очень смешно озвучивать, я не могу сказать так. No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course.
Oh.
What? Just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it. No.
What do you mean?
If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But now they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable.
I see.
Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I handed a black piece of paper. Wise words on white washi.
You must be a man of great standing.
Oh yes, so I am often told.
And often like to be told, it seems. Okay, the accusation against you. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san?
I didn't commit that atrocious murder. Murder.
Murder?
Oh, no. It's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes.
Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker?
I didn't see anyone.
What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be slapped in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient.
Вау, потрясающе. Incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly, inconvenient. Прекрасно. So, Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker.
It's vital that we find out more about the case.
Да, литерация max level. Yippee! About the case.
It was an accused evening just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accused lodgings. Accursed.
Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed. Accursed? Accursed?
Ну, типа, с проклятием.
Wasn't accursed too?
Проклятый, типа.
Мгм.
As I was walking along the
Accursed. Заново.
As I was walking upon the cursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a blue overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, oh, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, harsh slab of stone at my feet.
Жесть. Жесть, дядя, не трясись! Не надо!
How terrible.
I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish green graveyard.
Капец. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps?
Челик увидел один труп и такой, блядь, это как похороны какие-то.
Капец.
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to the accused lodgings.
Accursed. 3 из 3 промах просто.
Блин, я так понимаю, дурацкое слово.
Я просто привыкла accused, потому что тут часто используется accused, и мне уже просто...
Да. That's not good.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that.
Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours?
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know this fair-haired English and a young woman and that? I'm different, shy, timid, and sure. I can't talk to people.
Wow, damn. I see. A young woman unknown to
Я
Soseki-san.
интроверт, отстаньте.
Заебали!
Заебали.
Ну, челик умирает, все.
Рю. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one? Oh, great.
So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
Huh? What conundrum? Conundrum. What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He said that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen.
I did.
But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit?
Ah, you. What did you just say?
Nothing, I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
Челик из
Actually-
паничку ловит.
Вообще капец.
Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Sorry?
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Oh yes, she's right.
It was him. That accused great detective. He led the police to me.
Нихуя.
Of all the bad luck.
A cursed great detective? Could that be?
I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his rowdy laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Rash big-headed pussy boy begone. May you be cursed until the end of your days, Herlock Sholmes.
Busybody begun.
Busybody. Я сказала бузибой.
Господин Лок Шолмс. Хер Лок Шолмс.
Мистер Бусибой.
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 Бусибой. Это такой смешной, такая смешнявка. Блин, надо такие стикеры в телеге сделать. Типа, смеется. Хик.
Он похож на лису смеющуюся.
Да. Лисичка такая. Ой, подождите секундочку, мне написали в WhatsApp.
Какой кринжулька.
Сейчас. Смотрите пока на него. Лечите
Посмотрим на
депрессию.
этого просто. Я поем чипсиков.
Все, я уже здесь. Снова.
М,
I knew it!
Mr. Sholmes.
Мистер Херлок Шолмс. Бусибой.
Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure.
It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a silver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, this is the police, put the weapons down. Yes, it was a thin silver, and it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon.
Там не сильвер, а сливер, по-моему. Я не знаю, что
Silver.
это.
Ну
Неважно.
это типа маленький тонкий кусочек чего-то.
Disgusting dietary discrimination devils.
Disgusting dietary discrimination devils. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday.
And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's Herlock Sholmes.
It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English.
Found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London.
Yes, the great detective is really very well known.
And his very sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm a knife-wielding madman. Me, the big stupid kitten of a man.
О, котеночек.
Вроде бы Сосеки Натсуме написал книгу, которая называлась что-то такое, типа «Я кот», буквально. Я не
Cute.
помню точно.
I
Так
wonder
что он
what...
кэтбой.
Cat boy. I wonder what great deduction process led him to this conclusion this time.
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable.
The thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they mentioned their way in.
Of course you were. That's only natural.
I was terrified and trembling, and they were throwing questions after questions at me in impossible English. Fiendish foreign flammery.
Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English.
Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew how to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here.
Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising.
I'm fine? He's not fine now. Да.
Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire.
Сейчас, секунду. Отвечаю в WhatsApp-чике. Ага. You can just call me Naruhodo. And when we are speaking English, a simple mister is more than enough.
Yes, alright, yes. They've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. Billy Diavoli. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you?
Well,
Why is it so hard to say yes to me?
well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour.
Ah, a student.
I have defended a case in the Old Bailey, only the one though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means.
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose.
Determined. That's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire.
It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. Да-да, самый-самый лучший, самый близкий дружище.
Best friend.
Keepsake.
Такие они, конечно, BFF-шки. Вы поняли.
Когда-то, я помню, в трейлере, что ли, в локализации или где-то, ну, они даже обычно представляют персонажей, и там говорят, типа, вот это Judicial Assistant, тролля, вот это ты там главный персонаж. А Асоги был Certified Lawyer and Best Friend. То есть он сертифицированный лучший друг.
Мао. Кьют.
I know exactly what they're saying about me.
Oh, who do you mean?
The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me.
Goodness, why? Why do you say that?
For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, I was only the victim and missed myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit.
It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san.
And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot without any compunction at all.
У него так дергается глаз, бедняжка.
Да. Нервный котик.
Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said. And, of course, the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway.
That's awful.
Everyone, I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? Oh, when I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Soseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being.
What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Yes, I'll be here all alone waiting for you, like a student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
Так, окей. Мы можем показать ему наш значок?
Yes, a symbol of one of our great emperor's first-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side and defend me.
Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you.
And then why else would you show me that?
Oops, in hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Окей, ладно.
Бедный чел.
Так, тут мы уже все поговорили.
Мы
Ладненько.
реально его доведем.
Поехали на место преступления. Да что мне пишут? Так, 19 February, Briar Road. Ух, красивая. Погнутый велосипед. So, this is where it happened. Briar Road.
Oh, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
That is their job, you know?
But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They are often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come to this close. To the real Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Ты знаешь, это как когда европейцы или американцы в Японию ездят, и такие, вау, японцы, и их называют виабу. Вот это вот
Да.
наоборот.
Да.
Сюда как я приехала,
Да.
вау, белые
Я,
люди.
кстати, тоже виабу.
Это не очень хорошо.
Я знаю, извините. Травма дамп, gently holds. Да, он такой котеночек.
Of course, I have to try one on one day.
Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true. Hattie dream.
Я жую. Вот за...
Это в тему, в характер, в канон.
Сейчас. What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
This isn't the tourist shell, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So you've been to the holding cells then. What'd you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
We'll see about that. The Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens, and the verdict's a foregone conclusion.
The stone cold air of rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air.
Хватит читать мои мысли.
That makes it worse somehow. Well.
Well.
Давайте сначала все проэкзаменуем. Снеговичок.
What a delightful snowman.
I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though.
Oh, it has a scarf, look.
You'd need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one.
I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford a scarf.
Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his.
But the person who made the snowman certainly would.
Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Окей. Можем еще посмотреть на домиках.
Oh, that's the Scotland Yard garage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals.
You're very well informed, aren't you?
It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London.
Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then.
But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone.
No, I wasn't serious. Боже мой, Сосата, ты не поняла? Ты моя аутистичная доченька.
Крошка, малютка.
A special payment must be where the incident occurred.
Yes, it's a very wide open space, isn't it?
That's true. I can't see anywhere and the taker could have been hiding.
Oi, what are your foreigners doing here?
Oh, we are just investigating the crime.
Conspiring with the mustached fellow from Japan, are you?
Conspiring?
Come here to destroy evidence, have you? Get out of here before I give you an... Что, блядь?
Хит, может быть, типа
Хитинг?
хитинг? Типа хитинг?
Hitting go on.
Я не знаю. Сложно,
Британцы не
непонятно.
люди.
Рил.
He shooed us away like rats.
Yes, we should give him a wide berth, I think. Насколько я знаю, типа... В всяких расистских штуках азиатов часто изображают как крыс.
Мгм.
Типа... Да, так что вот это вот замечание про то, что типа он разогнал нас как крыс, это больно, да.
Да.
What a disappointing experience.
А, она так хотела с ним поболтать. Глупышка, она еще не поняла, что британцы не люди. Так, как? Вот так, ага. Так, дорожечка ледяная. There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks.
It seems carriages often travel down by a road. It soon disperses with all the snow.
I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead.
Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed all in black. I worry coachman might not see you, and you could be flattened by horses.
Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Жесть. Что тут у нас? The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy.
Well, it's known as Foggy London Town.
I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. Looks like it's still being built though.
Aha, yes! That must be the Crystal Tower, being built for the Great Exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition.
It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. Well. Что тут у нас есть? О, труба? Что? Do you see all the black smoke rising from the chimneys over there?
It says here that in Great Britain many people heat their homes in winter using coal.
The only chimneys I really remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouse. Do you think some of those houses could be on fire?
Not at all.
Well, even so, that much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely going to turn the whole city black, sooner or later.
Gosh, you may be right about that.
Хе-хе. Минутка экологии. Так, это у нас что?
That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history.
Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in indecisively worse shape than the other houses around here. О боже, еще раз. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here.
We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with a reasonably level floors. Очень тяжело. Oh, look at the windows of that building there. О, да, очень странно.
Are you sure there are windows?
Yes, but they are all filled in with bricks.
Oh, you're right! I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment.
There's smoke coming from the chimneys though.
Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place.
Очень странный домик.
Ну, на
Интровертский.
самом деле, забитые окна — это не очень странно для Англии, особенно для дешевых каких-то апартаментов, потому что какое-то время в Англии был налог на окна.
Прикол. Боже, ну и
И все
капиталисты.
сразу позакрывали окна,
Налог
Я не
на окна.
помню, не
Пиздец.
помню, естественно, не помню, в этой игре это происходит во время налога или уже после, просто они не успели раскрыть. Потому что, насколько я помню, потом его сняли, потому что, ну, это чисто не гигиенично, что ли. Ну,
Ну да.
отопление идет газом, если, то вообще пиздец.
Ага. Еще, ну, тут уже не дают тыкнуть, но, ну, как бы дают, но тут не указывается, что тут еще разбиты вот эти вот штучки. Здесь вот две.
Ну, они просто сказали, что все плохо. И правда
Да.
так.
Да.
Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore.
Мисшейпен.
Misshapen? Да?
Да.
Да, misshapen. Pardon. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling.
It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well.
The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that.
Goodness, do you just like bicycles?
Ты что, не хочешь велодорожки? Невозможно. No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both of your feet off firm ground seems reckless. Подожди, ему не нравится плавать, да? Вроде бы. Ему не нравится, типа, отрывать ноги от земли. Кто Реноски по гороскопу?
Ты знаешь, я сейчас посмотрю, если у него официальное день рождения.
Посмотри официальные, типа, даты рождения, если есть, и мы посмотрим, кто-кто.
Я
Можешь
посмотрю,
мне
ты
скинуть?
почитай.
Окей. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into the river, I know you'd agree with me.
We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around.
Жесть. Сосед такая, типа, я сильная женщина, я сделаю все. Окей. Вроде бы мы здесь все посмотрели. Или нет? Или я что-то пропустила? Должно быть что-то, что... Где еще? Ну, вроде бы все. Тогда, наверное, нужно поболтать, правильно? Да, наверное, правильно.
Ну, дни рождения, к сожалению, для персонажей в докладах обычно не бывает.
Блин.
Исключение для этой игры — это Сосеки Натсуме, потому что он реальный человек. У него 9 февраля, он водолей вроде бы, да? Это водолей.
Да, это водолей. Нормально.
А-
Ладно, давайте
а-
поболтаем с ним.
А кто по вайбу Реноски для тебя?
Я не знаю. Но он точно не водный знак и, наверное, не воздушный. Не
Ну,
знаю.
он не похож на Овна, мне кажется, или на Тельца, не?
Нет, мне кажется, нет.
Какие у нас еще есть где-то земляные знаки-то?
Дева за весы? Может быть, он весы?
Может быть, кстати, он же адвокат за честность, за равноправие.
О, символизм.
Мгм.
Жесть. Ладно, жалко, что тут нет официальных дней рождения.
Мгм.
Ладненько.
Tell me about Scotland Yard Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am.
Oh, and you know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard work. Hard going, I can tell you.
Oh really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? He goes around and rouses all the laborers on his beats so they can get off to work.
What? He wakes people up?
Yep, raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit.
I had no idea.
Вау, было же время, когда полицейские реально что-то делали.
А я не
The
очень
Bobby
понимаю.
works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties.
Он типа...
Что?
Он типа не дает никому спать? Вот
Не,
ёбок.
будет людей по утрам. Электричества нету, никаких будильников, ничего нету.
Жесть.
After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way.
Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far.
Еще на выхода, наверное, представляете его путь через горы.
Бля, бедняжка.
Он такой, бля, через горы 20 миль.
Да-да, с этими подъемами.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all of those duties, bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well?
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly, or alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle these jobs as well. We do have men killing over from time to time, I admit.
I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart, so I shall have to relinquish the dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. About the case.
It happened at around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just there on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she is being treated in hospital.
I never said that she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose it means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's yard policy to give lawyers, defendants, suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still.
Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
Так, добавлено. Сейчас посмотрим, сейчас посмотрим.
Anyway.
Так, материалы. И. Изучить. Ага, Briar Road. Миршем Стрит. Так. То есть получается, что вот этот разрушенный дом, он типа вот этот. Правильно? Нет, вот этот.
Вот этот.
Да, ага. Окей. Наверное, раз нам это дали, это нам как-то пригодится. Окей, ладненько.
As far as we know, there was no one else in the scene other than the victim and your fellow countryman. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head-scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but
just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
It what?
We have two very reliable witnesses, no less.
О, да, очень reliable, очень надежный. Very good fabric. Смотря сколько details.
На месте преступления никого не было, но у нас есть два свидетеля.
Да. Вау.
Oh.
It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them.
There were witnesses now? Да-да, подозрительно, подозряшки. Kinda sus. Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife. And the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
Oh. A policeman? That might change things.
And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked.
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching them banging the act and all that.
Bang in the act. Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like in court tomorrow.
Oh,
I have no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So, that'll give you something to look forward to.
that's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems.
A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh, yes.
Следи за словами своими.
Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect. I hear that was Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The color has drained from his cheeks. Давайте поговорим про
Ненавижу этого
Холмса.
фрукта. Who did you hear that name from?
Oh well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Holmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings.
I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle.
Oh!
The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of his... Почему я не могу здесь читать, чел? Почему
Ты
ты так
прекрасно за него
говоришь?
читаешь.
С остановками, но читаю. The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
Oh,
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he?
He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble.
Oh,
Ever seen this before?
Oh yes, that's Ranced magazine.
the wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Holmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication is good at sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called Great Detective makes a mockery of us all. If you ask someone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Sherlock Holmes tale at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be framed by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all the criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship. Complex? Так,
Complex.
я не знаю.
Complex. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not?
Well,
Makes no difference to me, but I will say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole.
because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
The Reaper. It hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Да, странно. Подозряшки, kinda sus.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people who usually bother us with it are the real scum. The master criminals, the violent ones.
Master criminals?
The violent ones.
That's right. He handpicks his victims and deals with those, guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for his... Блять, боже мой. Okay.
What?
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, sunshine.
Oh, sunshine.
Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he has taken on interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? I'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it.
Да.
Снова он. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective.
Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh yes, what is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all of this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again.
Да, конечно. The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address even.
It's Baker Street.
How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We'd better try to find out our way there before Susada-san gets any more excited and unpredictable.
Hooray! I'll summon a carriage.
So we'll have to have a reunion already with the great detective Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
Насчет комментария Грексона типа Синки Стифинту, потому что Барак Ван Зик все время... У него вайба вампира, да?
Да.
Хочу вам представить интересный факт насчет сленга.
Так.
Вэмп. Я удалил страницу, где я хотела прочитать это. Сейчас. Вэмп в Англии начала 20 века. Прочитаю вам определение из Оксфордского словаря 1909 года. Vamp обозначает ostentatious, exaggerated, affected, theatrical, effeminate, or homosexual, pertaining to characteristic of homosexuals.
Okay. Alright.
Короче, Vamp...
Все ясно, все понятно.
Все сразу встает на места, да, как бы?
Да. Ну, как бы мы и так знали. Мы чувствовали это нашими сердцами.
Да.
Епи, кат-сцена!
Лошадка.
Все сразу такое цветное, без снега.
А, да, кстати. Смешно. Thank you very much.
Ну, хотя они были на сцене
Thanks
типа
again.
часов 10.
Хм. Кто был на сцене?
Ну,
This
ладно,
is
без
it, the
преступления.
residence of Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Шерлок Холмс.
Шерлок Холмс?
Ты сказала так.
Да? Мне казалось,
Да.
сказала Шерлок Холмс. Ладно, неважно. Похуй.
Шерлок Холмс,
Похуй
Шерлок
плюс
Холмс.
похуй. Я не сделала свою домашку от Тайлера. Так, 19 February, 12:53 p.m. Holmes suit. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Тебя не приглашали?
О, какой параллакс.
Is it as described in the stories, Miss Susato? Susato-san?
Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been... Yes. I've never read the stories, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism! Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, I suppose I can... Yes.
So if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please don't mind me.
Huh, she's obsessed. Да-да.
Как было бы хорошо читать Шерлока Холмса и понимать эти отсылки, потому что тут явно их очень много, но мы их не
Да.
знаем.
Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Сейчас будет она? Она? Она?
Мгм. Да.
Oh, do you have a visitor?
Малютка.
Hello, is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes?
Hello? Wait, aren't you...
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once.
Мне
Милашка,
нравится, как она
малышка.
не вписывается с другими персонажами в любой сцене по дизайну. Это очень смешно.
Да. Ну, anime girl.
Мгм.
Well, anyway. I'm sure it's the same girl. Miss Susato, did you see the girl who was just here? Сусата вообще в отлете, она как бы, ну...
Она
Oh,
наслаждается
yes.
жизнью.
Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case.
The king of Bavaria? Bavaria? Bavaria?
King Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ormstein, of course.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a moment and look over there.
The tea is brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well. Oh, it's you!
I knew it. Sasata-san recognizes her too.
Не
А?
по стилистике не похожи на другие.
Что? Кто?
Тема ее музыкальная даже не похожа на другие.
Да.
Oh, there you are! I'm taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
Is the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilted's trial in the defendant's antechamber.
Meet a lawyer from the Far East before? Or are you having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London?
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know?
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted over your long voyage here. And you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Harley, do you?
Harley? Mr. Sholmes to you, Shirley?
Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Harley is out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suit? Oh, silly me! I haven't introduced myself, have I?
О, милашка.
Авка. Кстати, сделаем перерыв минут через 10-15.
Да, хорошо. А, она Вилсон?
It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Harley.
Если чатик не помнит, или если ты не помнишь, ну или ты помнишь, раз ты обратил внимание. Вилсон была фамилия челика, который умер в первом кейсе.
Да. Мне еще нравится, что у нее типа на концах хвостиков сердечки, и тут сердечко. Это так мило, so cute.
Да, Вилсон был, во-первых, челик, который умер в первом кейсе. А во-вторых, это так же, как с Шерлоком Холмсом. Изначально он был Ватсон в оригинале. То есть она Айрис Ватсон, по сути.
Ну, да. Сейчас, секунду.
Это очень важно. Мне только что пришло письмо. Вадимочки нету в чатике, но мне нужно, чтобы ты ему написала просто одну фразу, что открыт ранний доступ для второго Хейдис.
О, окей.
Это очень важно. Можешь написать, что это от меня.
Открыт ранний доступ ко второму Хейдис. Okay. Oh, Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait. This can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susata-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sasata Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Suzy and Bruno.
Got it. О нет, только не придумывать, типа, более хорошо звучащие имена. Типа, более привычно звучащие имена. No fucking way.
Ну, она малютка.
Ну...
Все равно расизм.
Suzy?
And Bruno? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
Окей, давайте поболтаем. Сначала посмотрим, что тут у него есть, да? I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire and watching the flames flicker and danced in the grate. Ah, it's so relaxing.
We can't relax. Not when there are so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as it was described in the stories.
It is?
Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example. Are my chocolates for 11 C's? And transfixed by that large jackknife. Is my shopping list for the market. Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Poor Sasata-san. She looks crushed. Да. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment.
I keep telling Harley not to cram so much in those shelves.
Good advice.
He wanted to look something up in one of those books a while ago. But it was so tightly wedged in, he couldn't get it out. So he went and bought a new copy instead.
Боже. Spoiled.
Мне кажется, он просто не рассчитывает свои деньги нормально.
Real. Why are there all those bullet holes in the wall up there? Was Mr. Sholmes trying to shoot a pestery fly or something?
Mr. Sholmes would never do something so reckless.
Откуда ты знаешь? No. Excuse me? No.
Those are the letters VR. Thank you for Victoria Regina. It's Latin for Queen Victoria.
So you mean he shot the queen into the wall?
In a moment of boredom, Mr. Sholmes adorned the wall with a patriotic sign, that's all, as pistol practice.
Right, that makes perfect sense now.
It's exactly as it's described in the stories. Oh, this is delightful.
I'm not sure that the real explanation is any less reckless than shooting at a fly, personally.
It's patriotic, Mr. Naruhodo. Patriotic.
Я пыталась сделать, типа, орел. Ну, типа, знаете, типа, are you patriotic? Hell yes, I am. И там,
Я
типа,
думала, ты
звуки орла.
хотела изобразить орла, типа звук.
Да, я пыталась изобразить звук орла.
О, да, это лучше.
Чем у меня получилось.
У меня просто пропало с той стороны, я не услышала. Только
ну, может быть, мы... Ну, ладно.
Кстати, звук американского орла, который везде используют, это не настоящий звук американского орла. Это звук какого-то сокола.
Я помню, ты мне говорила. Потому что, на самом деле, орлы как-то очень немужественно звучат или что-то типа того. Непатриотично.
Та же ситуация, что с криками этих львов просто более известно, что вот тут. Это... Это, ну... Обычно, когда крик львов в фильмах, это не настоящий крик львов, такой. Для короля льва, что ли, использовали металлические мусорки.
Вау.
Чтобы звук добыть такой.
Прикол. What on earth is this huge over-the-top machine?
It's the great analyticoscope. Analytiscope. It can analyze anything, really. Anything at all. That's absolutely incredible. It's one of Harley's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigations. What sort of things has he analyzed with it? Do you know? Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet.
Oh, why not?
Apparently, on the evenings he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him. I don't actually have anything I need to analyze.
Oh dear.
How about you, Runo? Do you have anything you'd like to analyze?
The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. Okay. Что тут у нас? Так. Скрипочка. Oh, I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it?
Of course it is. Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. It's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese string instrument I could find.
Oh, it's a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London.
Oh, yes. Well, Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So, now it's merely an ornament in my room.
That must have been an awkward conversation.
Хм.
Damn. Окей, поговорили о скрипке до того, как завели разговор с Айрис. Не
Это
знаю.
achievement я прошел.
Да-да. What on earth is that big black lump over... Блядь, ну...
Может
Нужен
быть, сделать
перерыв.
перерыв?
Да, нам
Тогда.
нужен перерыв. Please.
Please. Please.
Перерыв. Как... вот так. Yes, окей.
Сорян, Айрис, секунду. Походу просто только выходит из дома.
Да-да-да.
Перекурить.
Мао. Ладненько, давайте перерыв до 21:35. Окей?
Да, давай.
Хорошо.
Хорошее число.
Всем сайто. Окей, let's go. Так, мы снова должны быть в эфире. I guess.
В эфире.
Так что мы продолжим. Да, в эфире нашего радиошоу. Так. Ага. What on earth is that big black lump over there?
Oh, that fascinating thing is called a typewriter.
О, да, печатные машинки! Let's go! Хочу себе такую, типа старую, винтажную печатную машинку, чтобы делать
Да.
тык-тык-тык-тык-тык, и оно таким прикольным звуком печатания. Ух, роскошно. Welcome back! С возвращением,
Надо-
спасибо.
Я думаю, можно купить клавиатуру какую-нибудь для компа, которая кликает сильно.
Да, можно. Но, типа, понимаешь, хочется и клавиатуру, чтобы оно такое делало, приятное кликанье, и вот печатную машинку просто потому, что она выглядит, типа, ну вот что-то вот красиво, красиво, я не знаю, как по-другому сказать.
Ну да, понимаю.
Эстетика, понимаешь, эстетик girl.
Хорошо мозг чешет.
Да. Вот некоторые бывают старые вещи, которые я смотрю, я такая, типа, блин, что за хрень какая-то, как это может кому-то нравиться. Например, старые машины. Я думаю, что они уродливые. А кому-то нравится. Чьими начинается на дата, а заканчивается на канаме.
Я не хотела ничего говорить, но да.
Ну, я хотела.
Да.
It's a machine that allows you to write on paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quickly too.
Oh, that sounds like it could be very useful for someone like me with terrible handwriting. Странно, что Рюновский не доктор. Старые машины милые, они соусили, ну да, вкусовщина. Но я не говорю, что они прям, ну, типа... Ну, я не знаю, у меня в целом нет какой-то любви к машинам, как у некоторых людей. Oh, anyway. It's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles too.
Oh yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode.
Explode.
Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes, indeed. And as Harley always says, chemistry is an explosive science.
Sorry?
I agree. A single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world.
Or perhaps he just meant it literally. Either way, mental note, do not touch any bottle that belongs to Iris. Да-да. Не надо трогать чужие вещи. What a beautiful English tea set, and so neatly arranged.
It's a favorite pastime of mine, a cup of herbal tea in the afternoon.
Tea made of herbs? Но они же все сделаны из трав, нет? Все чаи сделаны из трав, нет? Травяные чаи.
Ну, herbs — это именно... Ну да. Но обычный чай не из травы же сделан.
Из листьев.
Ну да, но это типа древесные листья.
Окей,
Кустарниковые
не
листья.
шарю, не шарю.
Типа чайное дерево, это же дерево.
М.
That's right.
Herbs — это именно
Травянистые.
травы.
Окей, понятно.
That's right. I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, don't go away. I'll brew a pot of the special blend I came up with earlier today.
She looks delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. Такая милашка. Такая малютка.
Да.
Так, как лучше это будет посмотреть? Вот здесь? Да, наверное, вот здесь.
A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing man, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection.
This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament. Жесть.
Oh, those are all mementos that Harley has collected from his past cases.
Really? Even the bust?
Yeah, that's right. When the mob takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust.
The poor, defenseless emperor. Mr. Sholmes destroys it.
Yes, and then he buys a new one.
You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor.
How entrancingly bohemian of him.
Да, cringe. Навалил кринжа. It looks like that huge metal
Самый
chest is...
кринжовый персонаж.
It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It seems very sturdy, with an equally sturdy look.
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Ah, that chest. Contains some of my most valuable things.
And then Smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. Да-да, вот так вот. А что ты хотел? Все тебе возьми да расскажи. Ладно, давайте с ней поболтаем. Я думаю... Ой.
С малюткой.
С малюткой. С булочкой. С корицей. Айрис.
Пичка.
It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming. Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. А, вот этот?
Like this. Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade
In tow? Didn't you? Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, your technician?
Harley, of course, silly.
Harley?
Yes, Harlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
A daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Harley if he was my father, would I?
Well then, what's your relationship with Mr. Sholmes?
Well, I expect you'll find out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Your roommate? I hope you
Помните,
don't
когда я
mind...
сказала, что у них ситуация типа как с Мизуки и Датой? Ну, буквально.
Да.
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year.
Well, what of your mother and...
No.
Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. Wilson.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course. Go ahead, Susie.
I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes and...
Oh, you have a copy of Rand's magazine?
Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on the ship.
This is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories?
That's right. Harley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think?
О, тема Шолмса сзади. Yippee!
Да.
Я ее люблю. Goodness.
Last night he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came.
So you are the author?
Yes, I let you on. I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call the latest adventure the Speckled Band.
A speckled band? That's certainly very familiar.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course, I know that the snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you?
So, do you mean to say... Are these stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Red's magazine?
All written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson. Yusata-san is getting more and more worked up.
Oh yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
That's not true too. I'm a doctor.
Что?
Ну что ж.
10 лет? Я прошу прощения у всех, кому я говорила, что я обучаюсь в медицине. Возможно, мне не стоило. Вау. Вау. Прискорбно.
Мне кажется, ты уже слишком стара, да?
Да? Child Prodigy, реально. Капец. Ну все, только запить. No, it's 10 years old?
It's 10 years old!
Тебя.
Well, that's quite incredible. But, это я. Но, она в 10 лет сделала то, что я еще делаю. Жесть, она в утробе начала учиться, что ли? Реально, как так? Нет, ну может быть в Англии тех времен не нужно было учиться типа настолько много. Но все равно, скам. Да, реально.
Доктор Вилсон из...
А?
Говорит, что-то тут не то.
Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Oh yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective is a 10-year-old girl in tow.
I suppose it does, yes. Poor Sosata-san. She looks like her whole world was just falling apart. Как и мой. About before.
Yes. What's on your mind, Runa? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London? I mean... Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that?
Huh, that's what you mean.
Please tell us how you did it. Explain every detail.
Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin.
Полетели, девочки!
Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Runa. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh.
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you started a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? earlier today. Oh. They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see? I didn't realize. And the red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Harley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he'd caught a Japanese man who was bowling and traveling.
Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been...
Mr. Natsume. No, Runa has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Suzy? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Harley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Harley about the case.
Жесть, у нее реальный дедакшн, не то чтобы у Херлока.
Потому что у нее есть доктор.
Рил. Рил. У него есть только свидетельство о рождении.
Это в лучшем случае.
There's note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Harley is always stabbing his nose with a knife, you know. He's silly. Oh, silly ванили.
Блин. Такой смешнявый чувак, просто ножом скрепляет свои записи.
And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
It was amazing, Iris. Truly great deduction.
You even mentioned a certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh well, I was just copying Harley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please.
So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Harley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. But the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly...
Directly или directly? Наверное, directly. Саш, ты тут?
Я?
Hi?
Да, я тут. Меня просто
окей.
немножечко заело. Что ты говоришь?
Я не знаю, directly или directly. Directly, наверное.
Я на директе. Мне кажется, это
Я на
типа
директе.
зависит от акцента.
We take him directly to the crime scene.
Oh, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, snifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, snifty-looking, stooped man.
Шифти.
Mr.
Шифти.
Шифти?
Угу.
А я сказала снифти, да? Блядь. Ладно, шифти лукинг. Mr. Natsume.
Снифти. It sniffs around.
Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Soseki-san said he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Harley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear.
Ah, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Harley says that London is rife with crime.
Oh,
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is. But in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Сосеки-сан.
Хих!
Она
Бедный котеночек.
реально котика же спасает.
Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As a guest, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Oh well. I expect Harley is still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume.
Mr. Natsume?
Not so many.
Not
so
Drives me...
many.
It drives me nuts.
Не знаю, я просто недавно видела ТикТок,
So
который
many.
где медсестра просто такая, типа, начинает его с «It drives me nuts when patients...» Ну, не знаю, она так смешно это говорила.
It drives me nuts.
Да, примерно такой интонацией.
Harley said he was going to the men's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where those lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crimes themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this from me, would you?
Gregsy! Aww.
If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What's this?
A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems.
Можно, наверное, можно прочитать. Надеюсь, что можно.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem."
Реально так и написано? Интересно. Ща. Как мило. Сердечко.
Малютка.
Кьют. У меня такой красивый
Какая она
почерк.
хорошая,
Хотя она
прекрасная.
доктор медицинских наук. Кьюти-патути.
Ну, если честно, я смотрю на этот почерк, и я могу представить, как она пишет каракули в направлении.
Ну, да. Поэтому у нее есть и печатная машинка. That's great.
Ну, судя по тому, что она говорит о физике, она, видно, типа фармацевтикой занимается, что-то такое.
Может
Наверное,
быть. Ну,
экспериментальный
доктор of
какой-нибудь.
Medicine, я не знаю.
Ну да. Но это же очень общее понятие.
Ну да.
Gosh, that will make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, A Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris.
Кьюти-патути.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
Но все время такая, вперед! Yippee! Let's go! Slay! So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris' curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand.
To be continued, да?
Да, продолжение следует. Не знаю, мы еще, ну, наверное, полчаса хотя бы надо стрим провести, да?
Ну
What do
да,
you think?
да, я думаю, можно вполне.
Да. Мятежное сердце.
М.
Так, 19th February, 20:38 p.m. Briar Road. It looks as though the police are still here carrying on with their investigation.
Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Окей.
М.
Есть ли тут смысл еще что-то смотреть?
А,
Вроде тут ничего не
Ничего
изменилось.
нового, я думаю, не появится. Если ты так на внешний вид не видишь ничего нового, наверное, ничего нового и нету. Ну, вроде все то же самое.
Ну да. Ладненько. Ой, куда? Туда. А, нужно ему показать. Я забыла. Так.
Мгм.
Показать. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign garabouts, that's for sure.
We have this for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
Oh, what? For me, from her ladyship.
Her ladyship?
Give me hair at once. Come on, Eleanor. That's for me.
Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you?
Кстати, я когда спустилась в перерыв к родакам, а меня спросили, типа, ты там реально рыдала или ты смеялась? Так что...
Чего?
Потому что я Натсуме озвучу.
Damn, жесть. What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee. That's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right. For the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
А, она ему платит, чтобы использовать его, типа, в своей книге?
His likeness. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still.
I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, huh?
Мне интересно, как Херлок и Айрис будут в одном кадре. Типа, Айрис же такая мелкая, и Херлок такой высокий. Как это будет смотреться?
Ну, не знаю, я из того, что заметила, мне тут персонажи, кажется, они в кадре, высокие персонажи меньше по размеру, чем они как бы должны на самом деле быть. Типа, представь этого Лайонхарта. Его же так зовут? Не Лайонхарт, а этот, блядь.
Ну, я поняла, о ком ты.
Ну, Алекс.
Стронгхарт.
Алекса.
Алекс the Lion.
Стронгхарт. Алекс Лайонхарт. Да. Он, типа, мне кажется, выше, чем он на спрайтах в игре. Даже если посмотреть по размеру головы, когда он там рядом с Сузата стоит или с Наругота. Так что я думаю, они поместят их как в один кадр.
А, окей. А ты прочитала, да?
Да.
Sorry?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector. I'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
The little knife-wielding mustached for Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there, look.
А, вот это оно.
On the first floor of that house, on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle propped up.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is Mr. John Garadeb. Right. Well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. And I'll have that the Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector. We will.
Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Мало. Такой силе.
Он такой, я ничего не зарабатываю, она пишет о мне шутки, но хотя бы она дает мне деньги.
Да.
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left.
Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Okay, let's go. Да-да, я поняла.
Я так хочу подпевать к этим мелодиям, но я знаю, что у нас задержка. Поэтому это будет очень плохо звучать на записи.
19th February, Mr. Natsume's lodgings. О! Вау! Что за платье? Оу! Окей. Ты возьмешь или...
Давай ты, потому что тут есть еще один персонаж, который будет с ней все время.
Окей, ладно. May I help you? Ah, yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb? Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling? My name is Runosuke Naruhodo. I am...
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. Oh! We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client.
Oh. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb.
Типа, она не очень много говорит на самом деле.
Okay. Did you see that, Miss Susato? That was a real-life English maid.
I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in the English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. How this day keeps getting better.
Так мы же уже видели горничную в суде присяжных.
Ну, ты.
Ну ладно. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now. This way. Oh, okay. Давайте сначала examine. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it?
It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That little thing. Not much better than Rex, really.
Oh?
Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past. Me would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have the old piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Oh, I see.
Perhaps we should leave the past in the past.
Ха.
Ну, такой полумесяц просто. Вау.
Угу. Ну, ты видишь, какая у них тематика дизайна этих двух персонажей, типа?
Типа как солнце и как луна, или что? Cute.
That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that it's not straight. Да, странно.
That whole thing.
Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bad thing out of my way.
So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose.
Да-да-да.
Подозряшки.
Мне сейчас очень кажется, что смешно. Типа ее фон повернут в одну сторону, а она в другую. Типа они криво висят в разные стороны.
В смысле?
Но сейчас, когда будет видно ее
Кого?
медаль.
Медальку?
Мгм.
Окей, сейчас я подключу телефончик к зарядочке. У этого оста похожий вайб на тему свитках за море плачу. Да-да-да-да-да. Ты очень мило в плане дизайна, cute indeed. Хихик. Да.
Так. There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, for distinguished participation.
Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for. Damn.
Типа видишь, вот смотри, что медаль повернута влево, а фон вправо.
Она повернута? А, да.
Ну.
Почему? Что происходит?
Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army.
Он мешает чай
Can't
своей
measure
хуйней!
a number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in the military circles.
Он мешает чай своей штукой, своей трубкой. Чё за хуйня? Прекрати немедленно.
А чё, там только его микробы.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from you. What could be behind it, I wonder?
I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek. Ahem! Ahem!
Maybe let's not, Miss Susato. Там дыра, что ли? I think the mate is going to head us off with a cup of tea.
Ahem! Ahem!
Что это? Это типа ковер? Там дыра? Там кусок ковра просто обрезанный, типа опаленный. Окей. Так, что-то у нас еще есть. У нас есть пушка. That's a full-sized cannon. What is doing it here?
Oh my! It's real! I thought it might be a replica.
That old thing. Bah, that's little more than a toy.
Sorry.
The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house.
Really? It isn't overkill?
Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy.
Violation. Да-да-да.
Do you think...
Boy.
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 Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Gary Depp?
Always is. Take Joanne here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see.
Wow.
They dry very well in the cannon there, Joanne tells me. Which really proves my point, I feel.
It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. No, бедная пушка. I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Gary Depp. Do you enjoy reading?
Never experienced the London winter, boy. The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book.
Oh, there's a copy of Rand's magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Gary Depp enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes too.
The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. Да-да. Так, что у нас? Нам не дадут тыкнуть на алкашку? Или что это?
Это
Окей.
не алкашка.
А что это?
Это просто... А, ты слева смотришь.
Да.
Мне кажется, может быть алкашка. Не знаю, мы в таких бутылках сок хранили раньше. Отжимной, типа.
Are those mortal shells? They're enormous.
Oh, I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here?
Ah, those old things. Couple of little rounds accidentally fired into the barracks during training, you know. Became a bit of a colorful regiment folklore, that incident.
You mean you deliberately hunted out of suspended shells?
Well, I wouldn't say deliberately exactly. They're only scrap iron after all, usually just thrown away, I believe. But you never know when things might come in useful, do you?
Useful for what exactly?
Yes. Well, John here did manage to knock one of the Bailey things on my foot the other day while she was dusting.
Oh no!
Hadn't shed a tear since 1869. Before then, you know. Уф, циферки это сложно.
Да. Maybe reconsider throwing them away? О, портрет! Он такой забавный.
Портрет, кстати, неплохо выглядит на самом деле.
Не знаю, кому как. That portrait of Mr. Gary Depp is glaring at me, I swear.
Не знаю, мне напоминает типа фото, знаешь, когда ты видишь фото старые своих там дедов, чем-нибудь такое.
Твой дед выглядит так?
Ну, сейчас нет, но...
Да.
Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Gary Depp as well?
Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the metal piece as well.
Ah, yes. Seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket.
Seemed to come back? What do you mean?
The chap who runs the place is a burly wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
Hoarder.
The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to requirements.
Satasan doesn't pull her punches. Or her throws, for that matter. Damn.
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 Good day to you. Younger adept to this service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Runosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maivand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier.
It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was painting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do you think so?
Damn.
Well, Mr. Gardep, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Секундочку, у меня грузится стрим. Грузись, пожалуйста. Пожалуйста, грузись.
Что-то с интернетом?
Ну... О, ожили.
Yippee!
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folder, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joanne? Let these good people see it properly. Joanne, fetch that. Dash it, old woman, be careful.
Oh, dear me! I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
So, anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lounging downstairs, is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only to please, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. You forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in the assault house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all the detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Red's magazine here, so...
No,
Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So he's in Soseki-san's room.
it's a poorly nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss, it's truly unsettling.
Почему у него открыты окна? Почему там нету кирпичей? Странно. Ну ладно.
Ну, он может себе позволить.
М.
Или мог себе позволить, когда был налог. Не знаю, я просто честно не помню, когда этот налог был или есть сейчас.
Так, про мистера Натсуме.
About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Gary Depp, please do tell us.
Ah, yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved it very recently then?
I have two lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. Arr! Dashed old Juan, do be careful.
Что он там говорил? Ага, понятно. Oh my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? Потому что он японец. He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, John, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure.
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all?
Yes, oh yes, indeed there was. And she died to tell us. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchard.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books, it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. Она просто писала интроверта.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known a Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Oh.
Could you clarify something, I wonder?
What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine?
Oh!
I'd understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct?
That's right, yes. They're both below us on the first floor and street level.
Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed.
Да нет, не надо его опрыскивать!
Good grief, Joanne, be more careful, woman.
Oh my goodness, sir! I'm terribly sorry, sir! Просто
Woman.
отвлекающий маневр. Boy. Woman.
Boy.
Something doesn't add up here. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time?
The window.
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
It's dinner time in the Garda household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, John?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as...
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well...
Yes? Was there something then?
Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but at around this sort of time... For the love of God, Joan, what were you... What you
Oh, dear.
doing?
Что я сделаю? Нет, только
Ну,
нет,
либо
не
careful,
автопроигрывание. Я случайно нажала на автопроигрывание.
К сожалению, я больше не смогу орать, потому что я... уже поздновато, но
Да.
представьте, что я ору, когда он орёт.
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do me more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. Oh, yes? I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really, Mr. Garrideb? As we were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... Wow. Joan, dash it all. What is the matter with you, woman? Woman.
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Жесть. Вот это газлайтинг.
Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan.
That's right, Mr. Garrideb. What is the matter with these two?
It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what?
I wish I knew. Так, комната мистера Натсуме. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on?
Certainly, just below us on the on the first floor.
Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak.
Yes, told me that's his name. Had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services.
That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean?
Don't see why not. It's just down the flight of stairs.
Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case. But we have to try. We need all the clues that we can lay our hands on, shall we?
Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Окей. Поехали дальше осматривать. Мы еще не посмотрели эту часть комнаты. с тортиками.
Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up, it looks more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It's quite the English way. It's Mr. Gardev's custom to take suitcase with his tea. That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute, so... there are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally, it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Gardebs does need, I say to myself, John, you shall have to tidy up.
John? John. John.
Джоан.
How magnanimous of you. Да, очень мило с ее стороны подъедать за ним.
His window looks out over Briar Road, where the young woman was attacked.
Oh yes, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene.
The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly.
Does this thing open at all, I wonder?
I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner will go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you.
It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then. Okay. Тут вообще все побито, капец. Look at that crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, the shelves seem to be broken. And the crockery is... oh dear, it's in pieces.
It really is. The word is correct. Wouldn't do that. Chinaware justice.
Oh, I wonder... perhaps a cannon was fired at it.
Yeah, probably something like that. But let's not delve too deeply here. Окей, дорогуша, как скажешь? Что, мы не посмотрим на бельишко? Ладно, ну, видимо, тут все. Правильно я понимаю?
Что тебе душе угодно, да?
Мы можем еще conversation сделать? Нет? Нет, мы можем
Да,
только...
может, потому что-то можно показать. А, даже показать ничего нельзя. Ничего себе.
Да, даже показать ничего нельзя.
Ну, что
Окей.
ж, нам видно.
Тогда на сегодня все, я думаю. Правильно?
Ну да, наверное, вполне, да. До следующий раз мы спустимся поговорить с Шерлоком Холмсом. Извините,
Да.
с Шерлоком Холмсом.
Снова встретим нашего Силли Гуфи дурачка.
Силли Гуфи.
Силли Гуфи. Милашка. Окей.
Да, понемногу
Так что-
пробираемся через 4-й кейс.
Мгм.
Очень. Пока... Да, в адвокатах редко бывают кейсы, когда человек не умер, которого пытались убить. Что
Ой,
достаточно
я выключила.
интересно.
Блин, я выключила. Куда же... Ладно.
Ты полностью
Н- н-
Twitch?
Нет, я не выключила трансляцию, я просто теперь здесь черный экран, потому что, видимо, я вышла из игры случайно.
А.
Дайте мне
Ну,
секунду, я
это
заново
ладно, это ладно.
заново ее запущу, ну просто чтобы у нас была музычка на фоне. Окей? Yes. Sure.
Тебе
Так,
надо
да.
замутить это конечный экран, знаешь, типа на который переходить в
Да-да-да-да-да.
конце, чтобы не сидеть на игре.
Yes. Мне нужно это сделать.
Yes.
О, да, теперь у нас эти прекрасные штучки сзади на фоне. Это пушка и всякие остальные вещи.
Да-да-да.
Well.
Он забавно меняется от кейса к кейсу. Это хорошо.
Мгм. Это здорово. So, да, немножко тихий такой тихоходный стрим. Ничего особо такого, как бы, вау, groundbreaking не происходило. Но это сетап, это затишье перед бурей, понимаете? Я думаю, что в следующий раз мы встретим Шолмса, и все сразу будет гораздо интереснее, я полагаю.
Но обычно кейсы в основном развиваются именно в суде, потому что у нас там и свидетели
Мгм.
появятся, пока мы просто
Да-да.
собираем улики.
Просто investigating. Дэн, спасибо за
Да.
стрим, you
Прошлый-
guys. Спасибо, что была с нами.
Да, спасибо. Ну, просто прошлый кейс мы пришли, нам сразу выдали все улики, и мы начали кейс.
Ага.
А тут нам придется их самим собирать, так что
Да.
полный
Ну,
процесс, скажем так.
все улики, которые там были, которых не было. по сути.
Ну, да, это как
Практически.
бы нам улики все эти дали, но фиг знает, правдивые ли это улики. Поэтому
Мгм.
надежнее, если мы сейчас все сами разберем и соберем.
Ага. Так что, да, наверное, на этом все.
Да, спасибо, что пришли. Я не знаю, когда мы сделаем следующий стрим. Сегодня у нас понедельник, да?
Да.
М, Ну, у меня никаких четких планов в ближайшее время нету, так что
Посмотрим.
как получится.
Мгм.
Да, по ощущениям.
Окей. Тогда всем спасибо. Всем пока.
Бай-бай.